All right, on December 20th, you got a French knitting bee in your Advent box and a tool, and I wanted to show you how to use it. If you're like me, you might have read the instructions, if you're like me, you probably didn't want to read the instructions, you just wanted to get going. And I do it a little bit differently than the instructions tell you, so I thought maybe I'd give you a quick little demo on how to get this set up and working. So I've got some yarn here from my Advent Christmas stocking kit. In fact, I just pulled out a whole bunch of it, and I'm going to use it to get started on the knitting bee. I find it, so basically you need to put your yarn down into the center of the bee, but it's really hard to get it out. So one little trick for getting it started is to thread it through your wool needle, and that just gives it some weight and a little bit of a guide. So now I can just pull it through like this. To get started, you're going to have the tail hang out a little bit on the base of your bee, and actually it works better if you can have a weight attached to this. Just holds things in place. So I'm just going to tie my scissors on to the end of my yarn until I get a good amount going. And the scissors just provide a bit of weight at the bottom of my bee. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is get started. And for me, the simplest way to do this is just to twist the yarn around your bee in a, what would this be? This would be a counterclockwise way. So I'm starting on the left, wrapping to the right. Let me do that again. Left, wrap to the right. Go to the next one, wrap it around. Go to the next one, wrap it around. Go to the next one, wrap it around. So that it looks a bit like a four-leaf clover. Now, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter how you get this started as long as you're wrapping it around the pegs. So if you went the other way, that doesn't matter either. Okay, so just get the yarn twisted around each of the pegs, and then take the yarn back around the first peg, hold it down with your thumb here, and get your tool out. The tool has a nice little lid on it, but basically it's just a little hook on an ergonomic little handle. And what you want to do is I've taken my yarn and wrapped it back around this first post, and now I'm going to take the yarn that's attached to my scissors down here, and I'm going to take it and pop it over top of the post and over that piece of yarn that I've got there. And then I'm going to rotate my knitting bee to the right and work around towards the left. So I'm rotating it to the right. I take the next peg, I've got my yarn draped over it, and I'm taking the bottom loop and I'm passing it over top of the top loop. Oh, and then sometimes it pops out. That's okay. You just put it back on there. It's lost its twist too. So I'm going to put it back on and add the twist back into it while I do that. Okay, it's good that that happens because it's going to happen more than once and you want to get it back on there. Then you take your tool and you pass that bottom loop over the top loop, rotate your bee, one more peg, take the bottom loop and pass it over the strand that you're holding in your hand, rotate it again, pass it over, rotate, pass it over, and give it a little tug every now and then. Pass it over, rotate, pass it over. Now I'm pinching this yarn between my thumb and my finger, and it's not terribly comfortable, so you may find a different way of holding that yarn to get it comfortable in your hands. But that is all there is to it. Tug it every now and then. I've got a little video of my 4-year-old grandson using his knitting bee. It looks a little bit different than the one that you're using, but it's the same idea. And he's going to show you how to pass the stitches over and how to always remember to tug at the bottom to get your yarn tensioned properly, and that keeps it from falling off. So the purpose behind the scissors is to keep some tension on the yarn that's coming out of the base of your bee, and to help keep the tension even and to keep these stitches from kind of popping off as you work them. That's all there is to it. It's actually quite therapeutic and relaxing, and you're going to make a length of cord that you can use for whatever you like. But what we've been using it for here at River City Yarns is to make hangers for our Christmas stockings. So have some fun. Hey there, Hayden.
Hello. How you do this is you take the string and pull it over, then you put your needle in this hole you see, then you put it out this side, then you pull it over there, push it down like this, then you pull that thing, then you put it through this hole again, and you put it through there again, and you pull it through here, and then you pull it down here 2 times, then you keep doing it again.
Good work. You're really good at this. I like to make a lot of I-cord at one time. I don't like to cut it until I'm kind of done. So I've got a bunch here that I made while watching TV. And so I think I probably got enough to hang a few stockings. You can see I was busy. So I just want to show you how to finish it off. Just when you're done, take your scissors and cut your yarn. Thread it on your handy dandy wool needle. And then what you're going to do, here's the yarn coming out of my last stitch here. So I'm just going to put my wool needle through this stitch on the needle, draw the yarn through, and then put it through this stitch on my needle, draw the yarn through, put it on this stitch, and end up in that last stitch. Draw the yarn through and just tug it tight, and then pull it out of your knitting bee. And that's the end of the I-cord. So now I can make this into whatever size of I-cord that I want. I'll show you how to make I'll show you how to cut the I-cord to make a smaller loop for your stocking. All right, so we're done with the bee for now, and what we'd like to do at this point is make a hanger. I'd like to make my hanger about this long. The length of it is totally up to you. You can make a long hanger, you can make a short hanger, but here's what I do to cut my I-cord. So I'm going to cut it right about here. I'm simply going to snip one stitch of my I-cord and use my wool needle to undo a row of knitting in my I-cord. And then I'm going to take this end, this is the short end here, so I'm going to take this end and I'm going to pull out that strand, and I'm going to undo it just a tiny bit, and then I'm going to thread my loops onto my wool needle, pop that end through those loops, and tighten it off. So there, I've got 2 finished ends for my I-cord, and I can use these 2 tails to sew my hanger into my stocking. The end that you cut, you basically do the same thing. So here it is here. So I'm just going to undo this guy a little bit, pull on a few stitches just to give myself a longer tail to tie it in with. Then put your stitches on your wool needle. 1, 2, 3, and 4. To me, it doesn't really matter to me what order you put them on the wool needle in, because they're all going to get smushed together when you pull that tail through and tighten it off. If you don't want the tail to be visible at all, if you want to use this I-cord for something else, just take your wool needle and go through those loops maybe one more time. Get it woven in good. Then take your wool needle and stick it through the tip of the I-cord. Put your needle down into the I-cord. Pull it through. And then snip it off. And you've got a beautiful I-cord to use on something else. Wrap it around your banister as a garland. Attach your little ornaments to it. It's perfect.